Hello, lovely people. Welcome to today's episode of Reality TV News. Reminding you, we post videos daily, so if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss any important update.
Okay, so today we're talking about that recent drama involving Teresa Giudice, specifically that pretty contentious live interview she did. Let's set the scene a bit. This kicked off when a host on WGN9 News asked Teresa about those reports of significant tax debt for her and Luis Ruelas.
Right, and it wasn't just any question, it was very direct. How is it that a family doesn't pay their taxes for years? And Teresa's reaction, well, she hung up immediately. And just a reminder, we actually covered the full context of this interview situation in a previous video, so you can check that out if you need more background.
Yeah, definitely worth watching for the full picture. So naturally, this whole hang-up situation became a huge topic on Tamra Judge's podcast, 2Ts and A-Pod. And interestingly, Dolores Catania was actually the temporary co-host at the time.
Which, made things a little awkward initially. Tamra even admitted she was reluctant to bring it up precisely because Dolores and Teresa are such close friends.
You could sort of feel that tension. But Tamra did bring it up, and her take was basically that Teresa could have handled it differently. She pointed out Teresa was, quote, getting visibly upset before ending the call while on live air. Tamra also kind of questioned why Teresa even agreed to the interview in the first place.
But Dolores, she came out swinging in Teresa's defense, instantly said, I don't blame her for hanging up. And she didn't stop there. She directly addressed the interviewer, Larry, saying, well, quite forcefully, F you, Larry. She felt Teresa was just so taken aback.
Wow, yeah, that's direct. It really depicts that fierce loyalty we sometimes see.
Absolutely.
And that exchange between Tamra and Dolores got pretty heated right there on the podcast, didn't it? Tamra made that comment because she could do it all by herself, kind of suggesting Teresa brings things on herself.
Right, and Dolores immediately fired back with, Camera, you better stop.
Yeah.
And they even joked about Dolores logging off the Zoom call.
So tied into this, Tamra also mentioned hearing rumors that Teresa had, fired everybody in her camp because of how the interview went down. Her PR team, maybe?
Dolores pushed back on the fired part, saying she didn't know about that specifically, but she did clarify that Teresa, quote, does not like somebody to try to make a fool out of her. Which, clarifies Teresa's perspective a bit. It reveals how sensitive these public figures are to their image being potentially damaged on air.
And the reactions didn't stop there. Kelly Dodd, who used to be on RHOC with Tamra, actually jumped into the podcast comments.
She did? What did she say?
Called Tamra mean for how she discussed the situation with Teresa. So, the drama just keeps spreading. So next update we have about the latest drama from Atlanta. We're setting the scene with the Real Housewives of Atlanta and this particular flare-up between Kelli Ferrell and Brit Eady. Now, Kelli, she's 40, claims that Brit, who's 37, initially said she never wanted Porsha Williams to come to her house and be around her man, which is, interesting.
Because then Porsha was welcomed into Brit's home later on.
Right. And it's not just Kelli saying this. Shamea Morton, she's 43 too. She confirms having, similar conversations with Brit. Brit apparently even questioned Shamea's own trust in Porsha. So this illuminates this pre-existing tension, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It suggests it wasn't just some off-the-cuff remark. And this underlying tension, it didn't stay private for long. It really exploded into what's being called an ugly spat at Phaedra Park's Black Glove event. And the focus shifted. It became intensely personal between Kelli and Brit, almost shockingly so.
Oh, yeah. If we kind of illuminate the depth of that personal fallout, Kelli expresses just profound disappointment in Brit, especially about the lack of support when her divorce is being finalized. Kelli says Brit didn't show up for me when I needed her the most, and she lists it out. No calls, no texts, no Bible verses, nothing, no flowers, no check-ins.
Especially when Kelli feels she'd showed up for Brit in more ways than most, like paying for a brunch, and, her words, holding her 10 toes down. Shamea backed Kelli up on this too, saying Kelli deserved that support, and she was sad about Brit's silence.
The fight at the event itself was described as horrible. The things they said. Brit accused Kelli of a secret abortion, and Kelli shot back suggesting Brit was a pill popper. I mean, how do you come back from that?
You probably don't. Shamea was shocked, right? Questioning how you can go this deep and this dark with somebody you say you love. Cynthia Bailey called it horrible, said she dislikes friends like that. And Phaedra Parks, well, she observed Kelli came in hot and Brit came in hotter.
So intense. And then Porsha asks, what's the real reason for this level of vitriol? And Phaedra clarifies it was all about the glam team.
Which is fascinating, isn't it? How a seemingly, minor issue, the glam team, becomes the flashpoint for all this deep-seated resentment and betrayal. It really exemplifies that performative friendship thing we see on reality TV. Private issues get leverage for the public story, making real reconciliation almost impossible.
Yeah, it's like the smallest spark ignites this huge fire because all the fuel was already there. Next update we have about personal revelations and difficult decisions. We're turning to some brave health journeys cast members are sharing. Let's shift focus to Ashlee Holmes, from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, an alum. She shared a really candid health update. Ashlee, she's 34, confirmed her bipolar diagnosis back in June 2022. And recently she revealed she's gained about 40 pounds since last December and even more over the past year. That's tough, especially publicly.
Definitely. And she attributes this weight gain to health issues and personal stressors. She said it led her to kind of hide herself from fans and experience mild depression, even though her mental health was generally okay. Her struggle really illustrates the immense pressure, doesn't it? For public figures to maintain a certain image, it's so brave to share struggles with both physical and mental health.
It really is.
And she's leaning on her faith, family, friends, and those influencers who teach body positivity. She acknowledged it felt daunting, coming back to social media, worrying about keyboard warriors. Her being transparent like that, it sends a powerful message about self-acceptance, finding support when you're under that spotlight.
And she hinted at more specific physical stuff too, right? Through hashtags.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Signaling things like an autoimmune disorder, thyroid health, and PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is a hormonal thing, often linked to weight gain. And her mom, Jacqueline Loretta, responded with just like total love and support, which is great to see.
That kind of openness is just incredibly impactful. And speaking of candid health journeys, next update we have about Sami Sheen. Sami, who's 21 and OnlyFans model, Denise Richards' daughter. She's making a really difficult decision. She's having her breast implants removed because of breast implant illness, or BII.
Yeah, and this immediately raises important questions, doesn't it? About the long-term health implications of cosmetic procedures and just how crucial it is to listen to your body. Sami's story really highlights the struggles that can happen behind the scenes, away from the public image.
It sounds like it took a while to figure out what was wrong, too.
It did. She said she had symptoms for nearly 2 years before getting the BII diagnosis, and she noted they started almost immediately after her boob job in 2023. So now she's actively looking for an explant surgeon in LA.
And she's being really open about the emotional side, too, acknowledging the mental and physical challenge of, going back to the size, but she emphasizes it's completely worth it for her health. She even said BII took her long hair from her and shared this exhausting list of symptoms she dealt with. Chronic fatigue, temperature sensitivity, allergies, hair loss, acne, headaches, memory loss, brain fog.
Wow, the list goes on. Vertigo, joint pain, muscle pain, skin rashes, severe anxiety, dry eyes, mood swings. It sounds incredibly draining.
Totally. And her message to her followers was really clear and important. Always put your health first.
Sami's experience brings that often unseen struggle to life. It challenges the sort of glamorized view of cosmetic work sometimes. It encourages a bigger conversation about, informed choices and advocating for your own health. Reminds us there's always more going on beneath the surface.
Yeah. Which brings us to our next update about the escalating tensions and shifting dynamics in the Valley. The show's actually been getting some criticism lately from Vanderpump Rules alums, which I found interesting. Yeah, like Stassi, Schroeder, Katie Maloney, and Dana Cathan on the Disrespectfully podcast. They were criticizing season 2 of The Valley, basically agreeing it's gotten far too dark and lacks balance. Katie Maloney described it as so intense that everyone is out for blood. It's fewing nuts.
Strong words.
Yeah, and Stassi found it was making me feel uncomfortable, icky, and she was even thinking about tapping out or needing to talk to her therapist about it. They were kind of lamenting the loss of real love and connectivity that they felt was there in season 1.
Katie's point about the cast not having the same history is key, I think. It means there aren't really high stakes to fix things.
Right, so it's easier to just attack.
Exactly. Leads to more willingness to throw each other under the bus, maybe this desire to seem morally superior. When that balance of genuine connection is gone, it feels less like watching a story unfold and more like a gladiatorial arena.
Which, like they said, can get exhausting for viewers. It does raise that question, what happens to a show long term when the relationships just don't feel real anymore? That gladiatorial feeling definitely fits when you look at some specific issues. Let's start with Danny Bucco's behavior. Janet Caperna's best friend, Jared Lipscomb, and also Teddi Mellencamp, they've both talked about witnessing dark side Danny. That's their term for Danny when he's intoxicated.
Boy, dark side Danny.
Yeah. Jared recalled having to ask guys to make Danny leave Jax's bar because he was wasted and being inappropriate with people. He confirmed it happened more than one incident. And Teddi described this dark side Danny as obnoxious and just not a fun drunk to be around.
Now, we see hints of this on the show, too, right?
Totally. On the Valley, Janet is constantly confronting Danny about drinking too much. And Jasmine Good shared a story about Danny being inappropriate with her at a Halloween party. It even got to the point where Danny admitted to his life coach that he hides drinking, which implies, dishonesty about it.
Well, what's fascinating here is how this consistent behavior, even if he denied it at first, eventually comes out from multiple people, multiple accounts. It really raises that question about personal accountability, doesn't it? And the impact your actions have, especially when cameras are rolling. It depicts a pattern that we, the viewers, can now see from different angles. It kind of puts the pressure on Danny to really address it, not just brush it off.
And the drama certainly doesn't stop with Danny. The show also illuminates all the ongoing marital friction between Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor, plus other dynamics shifting around them, like Brittany recently had this awkward encounter with Lexi Wood. Remember the rumors Brittany was dating Lexi's ex, Jesse Solomon?
Vaguely, yeah. How'd that resolve?
Well, Brittany went on her When Reality Hits podcast and clarified she only called Jesse hot in interviews. Nothing more happened. Lexi seemed to accept it, saying she's a girl's girl too. So that one seems resolved, thankfully. A small win.
Okay, one less fire to put out.
For now. Separately, Jax apparently rage-texted Brittany after his big confrontation with Zach Wickham. Brittany actually praised Zach's composure, saying he handled himself with such composure. Zach agreed, saying it took everything not to scream back at Jax. But Jax naturally claimed Zach went crazy on him. Zach said that's Jax's favorite thing to do, just rile us all up. It really demonstrates Jax's pattern, doesn't it? Create chaos, then spin the story.
Oh, absolutely. It's that classic dynamic you see. The instigator versus the one trying to keep calm, and the audience is left trying to figure out what really happened. It creates this interesting tension because you're constantly piecing together the reality behind the, reality TV.
And elsewhere in the Valleyverse, Luke Broderick is planning to propose to Kristen Doubt in Hawaii. Danny and Nia Booko are hosting the trip to keep it secret. But Jax declined the Hawaii trip. Instead, he broke down in a men's group session about his anger issues, with a life coach pushing him towards vulnerability.
Interesting contrast there. Proposal plans versus dealing with personal issues.
Right. But then, Brittany ended up snubbing a meeting Jax tried to set up. She said she was pissed because she got DMs about Jax being drunk at a bar with other girls. She's drawing a line. Co-parenting? Yes. Spending free time together? No. Jax's take, what he does on his own time, is nobody's business now that he's getting divorced.
Yeah, they're clearly not on the same page about boundaries post-separation.
Not at all. And the drama keeps swirling with Janet Caperna, too. She called Kristen Doubt a sniper from the side and accused her of calling Michelle Lally a cheater. Janet also had a really heated moment with Nia, rolling her eyes and snapping. It's always tears when it's intense. You're not going to say, my husband's taking his ring off when your husband's is grabbing. Oof.
The accusations are just flying everywhere.
Pretty much. They even organized a field day event, Melissa and Jasmine Good did, supposedly to release aggression, maybe needed. Then, when they got to Maui for the proposal trip, Danny and Jason apparently squashed their beef. And Janet apologized for her outburst at Nia, blaming it on having had too much to drink. But Nia wasn't really buying it, questioning that early in the night. And just to pile on more complexity, Jessie Lally has these deep-seated issues with Aaron, who is Michelle's new partner. Jessie is apparently convinced Michelle cheated on him with Aaron, which obviously makes their shared time in Hawaii super tense and casts this long shadow over everything.
God, it brings to life just how intricate and messy navigating relationships and public perception really is.
So, yeah. We've unpacked the intense feuds down in Atlanta, the really brave health journeys from folks tied to New Jersey and Beverly Hills, and then the raw, often pretty uncomfortable relationship stuff playing out in the Valley. It's quite an array of human experience, all happening under the reality TV microscope.
It really is.